My uncle tried to take credit for my entire career and almost ruined me. I always thought uncles were supposed to be supportive, a little quirky, a little distant maybe, but ultimately a cheerleader. Mine wasn't. My uncle, Victor, was like a shadow I didn't see coming, friendly at first glance, but lethal in ways I didn't even know existed. It started when I got my first big promotion at work. I'd been grinding for years, long nights, skipped weekends, endless networking, endless learning. And finally, my efforts paid off. I was now officially managing a project that could change the trajectory of my career. I was proud. I called my family first. "Hey guys," I said during our weekly Zoom, trying to keep my excitement casual. "I got the promotion." Everyone clapped. My mom beamed, my dad smiled, and then Victor spoke. "Oh yeah, I always knew you had it in you. Remember when I helped you with that internship?" "Yeah, I basically paved the way for this." I laughed awkwardly. Thanks?" But something felt off, a tiny, nagging suspicion. He hadn't helped me. I did all the work. I hustled. I sacrificed. I took chances he wouldn't have dreamed of taking. And yet, here he was, casually inserting himself as if my success was a family project he owned. I brushed it off. Family dynamics, right? A little exaggeration, harmless. But then it escalated. 2 months later, the company's CEO held a public roundtable, praising employees for their contributions. I was invited to present my work. Victor called me the night before. "You know, when you talk tomorrow, just mention me. I guided you a lot." I froze. "Excuse me?" "Yeah, don't make it look like you did this all alone. You know how networking works. People respect mentorship." I felt my blood boil. "Mentorship, Victor, you haven't done anything for this project. This is my work." He laughed, dismissive. "Relax, just don't be rude. I helped you along the way, didn't I?" "No," I said sharply. "You didn't, and I won't give you credit for something you didn't do." Victor's laugh turned cold. "You'll regret this." I went to the round table the next day. My hands shook as I presented. I couldn't shake the feeling that my uncle was working some behind-the-scenes angle. That feeling became real the moment I noticed the CEO taking notes and glancing at his phone repeatedly. Victor had apparently been texting the CEO stories about my work, stories that twisted facts, made me look inexperienced, and inserted Victor as the mastermind behind everything. I wanted to stop mid-presentation, scream, and expose him, but I didn't. I kept calm, delivered my project with precision, answered every question, and left the room shaking but proud of myself. The aftermath was brutal. The CEO called me in later. "Victor says he's been guiding you this whole time. Can you clarify?" I explained calmly, clearly, professionally. I laid out every step I took, every decision I made, every late night and early morning. I made sure to emphasize facts, not emotion. The CEO nodded slowly. "I see. I'll look into this." But the damage was done. Some colleagues had already begun whispering, uncertain about my competence. Victor smiled smugly from the sidelines. I realized then this wasn't just about recognition. This was a calculated attempt to undermine my career. I decided to fight back, not with yelling, not with public confrontations, with evidence. I compiled emails, project drafts, spreadsheets, and timelines proving every step I had executed on my own. I documented meetings, presentations, and contributions. I created a digital fortress of proof. Then came the confrontation. I invited Victor to dinner, our first private meeting in months. "Victor," I said, voice calm but firm, "I need to talk to you about your behavior. You've tried to take credit for my career, and I want it to stop." He smiled like I was overreacting. "Oh, come on. I've just been helping you network. Isn't that what family does?" "This," I said, slamming my folder on the table, "is not help. This is sabotage. You've been rewriting history to make yourself look like the mastermind. That's not mentorship. That's theft of my career." He leaned back, unconcerned. "You're being dramatic. It's business and family. Learn to take it in stride." "Dramatic?" I repeated, leaning forward. "Victor, this isn't a game. You could have ruined me. You've been lying to colleagues, manipulating facts, and inserting yourself where you had no part. This ends now. For the first time, I saw him hesitate, just a flicker. Then he smiled again. So, what are you going to do about it? I held his gaze. I've already documented everything. The CEO knows. Human Resources knows. Anyone who's doubting my work will see the facts. And from now on, I don't need you in my career. You'll stay out of it completely, or there will be consequences. He laughed nervously, tried to brush it off. But I knew the dynamic had shifted. I had taken control of the narrative. Weeks later, I noticed a change. Colleagues approached me, expressing support, sharing how they'd been confused by Victor's stories. HR contacted me for a formal statement. The CEO called me personally to acknowledge my contributions and clarify the misunderstanding. Victor, on the other hand, retreated. He couldn't leverage lies anymore because truth was documented and undeniable. But the lessons I learned weren't just about evidence and confrontation. They were about boundaries. They were about recognizing when someone close is toxic, manipulative, and willing to undermine you for personal gain. I started setting boundaries with Victor. I limited communication. I stopped sharing achievements. I controlled access to my projects. I made sure my career would no longer be vulnerable to someone else's envy. Months later, my career flourished. I got another promotion. I led bigger projects. I built stronger networks. And every step of the way, I kept meticulous records, not because I didn't trust my colleagues, but because I learned the hard way that some family members cannot be trusted with your achievements. Victor never apologized, never admitted wrongdoing. Some family members tried to rationalize his behavior, saying he just wanted to help. But I didn't care. I had the recognition, respect, and results that mattered. In retrospect, this experience was brutal, but necessary. It taught me how to protect myself, how to advocate for my work, and how to handle toxic family dynamics without losing my own integrity. If there's one lesson I can give anyone in this situation, it's this: document everything. Set clear boundaries, protect your work, and never let someone else rewrite your story without consequences. Victor is still my uncle. He still exists in my family, but he no longer has the power to manipulate my career, my reputation, or my success. And that's exactly how it should be. I survived it. I thrived. And now, every time I think back to the fear and uncertainty, I smile. Because I proved something invaluable. No one, not even family, can steal what you've built if you know its true value and fight for it.